Switching on the TV to watch my favorite cartoons as a kid has to be one of the best feelings I've ever experienced. Just me, a screen, and whatever cartoon they were showing at the moment. I think I enjoyed it so much because to me, these shows were more than just shows. They were a source of entertainment that allowed me to forget all my problems in the real world, even if it was just for a short amount of time. The manner in which these cartoons would explore certain themes and topics opened my eyes to perspectives I would have never known if not for watching. Whether it was learning the importance of making friends who would always stand by you from Codename Kid Next Door and Regular Show, or understanding how to deal with sacrifices and the pressure of responsibility from Avatar: The Last Airbender and Teen Titans. There was always a cartoon ready to inspire and entertain me. I didn't know it then, but that was our golden age of animation. Channels like Nickelodeon, Disney, and Cartoon Network were doing the most by providing quality animated shows day in, day out, ensuring that we were really watching the most. Fast forward more than a decade later, and that reality is quickly starting to feel like a distant memory from another time. Currently, when you switch on the TV, you're not gonna find anything worth watching. At least not like you used to, because all of them have been moved behind a paywall with streaming services. So let's try this again, but now we're gonna get subscriptions to the best streaming sites with cartoons. In my opinion, that's Netflix, Disney+, HBO Max, and of course Amazon Prime. If you disagree, tell me your favorite places to watch cartoons in the comments. After unlocking its contents, these platforms are full of cartoons people say are lazy, ugly, or lack creativity. And this is what has led to many developing the narrative that modern cartoons are worse. And even though I don't fully agree with it, I can see where they're coming from. So I want to share my thoughts on it today. I believe the main reason for this opinion on modern cartoons is because of a little something called nostalgia. Nostalgia is described as a sentimental longing or wistful affection for a period in the past, which means that most people will look at cartoons from their childhoods as the best shows they have ever seen. Even though this isn't based on any form of concrete evidence, it is the effect of nostalgia. If you watch cartoons from a young age, then you're most likely going to end up developing some sort of longing for them once they have ended, especially if you're really connected with them. That's just how we deal with stuff from the past. The idea of new shows coming up to replace the ones that had so much value to us would even seem threatening, to the point where you just end up hating it no matter what. Not because they're bad, but because they're just different. And I feel like this is the mistake a lot of older people make when reviewing modern animation. Because of the changes that they have had to make over time to stay relevant, cartoons are very different from what they were even a few years ago. With each passing day, there are new techniques and methods coming up to replace the ones that are seen as outdated. Certain tropes that were once considered to be fresh and original eventually become obsolete and need to be updated. This results in all the differences with the way modern cartoons are made, and even the type of content that they contain. Nostalgia makes you dislike all of these changes without giving them a chance since they are foreign to you. This of course pushes most people to label them as bad or terrible even before they take the time to watch and enjoy it. And that just means us viewers need to keep an open mind when we go in to watch newer cartoons. Allow yourself to enjoy it for what it really is, instead of trying to make it fit your expectation of what it should be. And I think when that happens, you will be able to look past most of the minor issues like the different animation styles. That being said though, I still feel like there are some aspects of modern cartoons that have gotten worse in recent times. So let me elaborate on some of them. First of all, the mispractice of overburdening animators with huge pieces of work in a short amount of time has become widespread in animation ever since it became mainstream in the entertainment industry. If you didn't know, cartoons take a lot of time and energy to develop. From the initial concept stage to the final color grading and animation, a lot of workers put in massive levels of effort to make story pitches into fully made episodes. Unfortunately, because of the high demand for finished cartoons and the lack of materials to create said cartoons, workers need to cut corners to meet the insane deadlines they have. This means reducing the amount of time and energy spent during the animation process, resulting in cheaper looking products for the audience to consume. And this is the main reason why people say modern cartoons look worse. But when you are not given the necessary time and resources to create and develop a show with good characters, a compelling plot, and a beautiful storytelling, is it really your fault when the end product comes out looking a bit iffy? I think most animators are doing the best they can with what they have. A lot of criticism these days is aimed at the crappy designs and lackluster animation in modern cartoons. But what we don't see is the harsh conditions that have been placed on animators and writers that prevent them from executing their craft to the best of their abilities. So then, we the audience are only given a shadow of what they could actually do, all in the name of increasing profit, because that's the name of the game. But on the other side of the coin, we live in a time where animators can put their content up online and fully fund it with the support that they get from fans. The barrier into animation now is almost non-existent. It's not like a few decades ago where you needed the backing of a major animation company to release and fund your cartoon. It's also so much easier for everyday animators to get their content in front of professional executives for a pitch through social media sites like YouTube and Twitter, which means that anyone at all with animation software could potentially be given the platform for a full show, depending on the type of reaction they get online. So if it's bad, it's still going to get coverage because people like it and the network feels like it could be profitable. This exposes many people to terrible cartoons which should have never been made and screened in the first place, but because of indie platforms, they got their chance to shine and we had to bear the brunt of it. Now the final major reason why cartoons are getting worse is because they're made for children. As hard as it may sound, most cartoons are not made primarily for you and I. They are made for a very young demographic because they are the most profitable. That is why over the years, most shows have transitioned from deep, story-driven narratives to colorful and bubbly random escapades. That may sound weird and you may be wondering why anyone would ever do this, but having a successful show depends a lot on how much the show can sell outside of the cartoon itself. So I'm talking about merchandise like action figures, toys, clothes, and even movies. And do you know which group of people are most likely to purchase these kinds of things? I'll tell you one thing, it's not the ones who are entering adulthood for the first time and have to provide for themselves. It's kids. They are essentially the jackpot in animation. If you can get more kids to gravitate towards your show, then you're gonna have a way higher chance of getting that show renewed over someone whose show is geared towards young adults or even teenagers. That's why a cartoon like Teen Titans Go has been attacked and criticized so many times by people all over the internet, but it's still on its 8th season. That's a huge L for all these cartoon YouTubers though. However, since these types of shows are being made for kids, they don't have to be too detailed or it would go way over their heads. It's more of making something that is colorful, bright, and random that can attract children to the show. Then some okay-ish writing filled with stuff a 9-year-old would find hilarious, and if you have all of that in your pot, then you're pretty much set with a reasonably good TV show. Unfortunately again, this is not what a lot of older people are looking for in animation. The sacrifice that's made to capitalize on a childish demographic is that you create something that becomes very hard for a mature audience to identify with. Whether it's because it doesn't test their higher intelligence or relate to the struggles they face daily. These shows seem to offer little when it comes to us, which has made even the adult animation industry saturated with shows that claim to be targeted towards us but are littered with the same problems that have been mentioned above. So to the question of why cartoons are now worse, to me the answer is a combination of nostalgia blinding us to reality mixed in with a profit-centered cartoon industry primarily made for kids. It isn't ideal, but hey, what are you gonna do about it, huh? In conclusion, cartoons may have gotten worse, but I want you to know that there are still shows out there which you will find good regardless of the generation you belong to. It just takes a little bit of digging to find them. If you're tired of seeing the same 4 shows being played endlessly on different cartoon platforms, why don't you look out for indie shows closer to your genre of choice on some lesser known sites? And if you can't find some, look harder. I for one am optimistic for the future of animation, and you should too. And if you made it this far, why don't you leave me with a like so that we can save the cartoon industry together? And you can tell me what your thoughts are on modern animation and whether you think this sucks. Tell me this and much more in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Tune out.